Let me start by saying I apologize. Adobe Premiere was giving me a lot of issues this week, so everything is kind of pushed back. I think I've got everything sorted out, so there shouldn't be any more issues. Alright, so on to Dragon Quest IV. Again, I think this series just keeps improving. And in my opinion, the biggest improvement was dividing the game into chapters. Because for the first time, we get to see some personality with the characters we're using. We don't get a ton of character development yet, but it's getting there. So here's a very quick and dirty rundown of the story. Here come the spoilers. We start with the prologue introducing the hero or heroine, you get to decide, and the game already gets bonus points for giving them green hair. It's a very short prologue that gives you the idea that we're someone special in some place hidden. Chapter 1 has us play as Ragnar McRyan, a soldier from Berlin who is sent out to find some missing kids. Eventually he finds the monsters behind the disappearances and learns they're being taken because they believe one of them could become the hero who grows up to beat their boss. So we take them out, save the kids, and Ragnar decides to go and find this hero and protect them. Chapter 2, best chapter, we get to play as Tsarevna Elena of Zamogzva and her two bodyguards, Boria and Kirill. Elena puts in work. She saves a town that was forced to sacrifice women, saves a woman who was impersonating her by trading away the armlet of transmutation, which will come up later, cures her father who's lost his voice, and then goes on to win the Endor tournament solo. So yeah, she ended up being one of my favorite characters. However, after winning the tournament, she returns home to find everyone missing, so she sets out to learn what happened. Chapter 3 is about the merchant Tornico Taloon, who rises from a humble store clerk to shop owner. This chapter was very different, more about gaining money than anything else, although he does help arrange a marriage between the Prince of Balimoral and the Princess of Endor, which rewards him his shop, and his chapter ends when he helps fund the construction of a tunnel. Not my favorite chapter, but I played worse. Chapter 4 gives us the last of the chosen, Maya the dancer and Mina the fortune teller. Their father, Mahabala, has been killed by his apprentice Balzac, so they're out for revenge. Eventually, we learn Mahabala rediscovered the secret of evolution. So that's why Balzac killed him, so that he could take it and pass it on to Tsaro. They do face and defeat him, but before they can finish the job, Marquis de Lyon shows up, and we get our first unwinnable fight. The pair wake up in prison, manage to escape, and promise to gather strength, return, and defeat them. Chapter 5 puts us back with the hero in their hometown. Throughout the previous chapters, Sorrow the Manslayer has been mentioned, and somehow he's found the hero's town. His followers attack, and the villagers have to hide the hero. And Eliza, using the Morse spell she showed off in the prologue, turns into the hero and is slain, convincing them they've killed the real one. So now as the hero, we set out, gather the chosen, defeat Balzac and the Marquis, collect all the Zenithian gear, defeat Astark, and then finally beat Tsaro. Chapter 5 was a lot. So that was a very poor synopsis. I just wanted to give a rough idea of the story before I got to my questions/complaints. Now, during Chapter 5, we learn that the hero is half Zenithian, and once we collect all the gear, we travel to Zenithia and we meet the Zenith Dragon. Now, we also learn at this point that the Zenith Dragon killed our father. This is never brought up when we meet him. I think it could have been a really cool moment between the two. Instead, the dragon just says, "You're the greatest thing ever." He praises the hero, gives them some XP, powers up the sword, and tells us, "Go handle Sorrow." That's it. Next, I was gonna bring up the armlet. We hand it off to some thief or kidnapper, and it's brought up throughout the story, but never like explicitly mentioned by any of the bad guys. But I guess we're just supposed to assume they have it, Tsaro uses it. how Amon uses it later, I don't know, but Saro has it. He uses a secret evolution. He's got the amulet. Fine, never mind. I'll let it go. And finally, I thought we would get more interaction within the group. Like, obviously not a cutscene, but walking into a town, stepping on some trigger, getting the group to have a conversation with each other. I thought with the way the chapters were set up, the game was gonna showcase the Chosen's personality more. I did play the iOS version, so we do have the party chat option, but you get a sentence or two out of that one. I was kind of hoping for more. Speaking of the iOS version, there is an optional 6th chapter where we can revive Rose and use her to save Saro after he's used the secret of evolution. We then learn that Amon was behind Rose's death, and we take him out. Oh, yeah. We go through all this trouble to save Rose, but then at the end of the game, Eliza comes back. How? I really did like this game. It might sound like I'm being a bit critical and nitpicky, but that just means I'm really into it. And I probably missed a lot, so let me know what I got wrong or what you think. I'd love to talk about it. Playing this remake on the phone kind of makes you forget that this game is almost 30 years old, and it still holds up. The battle animations made encounters more interesting, the wagon and party mechanics helped ease the grind, which, by the way, this was the grindiest so far for me. These were the best characters yet, and the chapters were a great change of pace. I'm really excited for Dragon Quest V. I wonder if they're gonna go with the Descendants route again, and how Zenithia will tie in. Anyway, thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment about anything at all. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time.